Your life couldn't have been better. You had aced your pro hero classification test in your final year of high school, and had quickly risen into the top 50 of the Japanese pro scene. Things got only better from there. With your youthful charm, you managed to wiggle the media around your finger, and you enjoyed the attention for all it's worth. This all accumulated one day when a pro hero proposed to you. You had gotten many offers in your life, but when you received them, you hadn't been ready yet. So once you were ready, you grabbed the opportunity with both hands. And by now you were happily married for 5 years now. You couldn't have been happier. Today was a special occasion, having planned a marvelous dinner date within the center of the Tattooine district, and you had put out your reservation weeks in advance. You were giddy, bouncing up and down in the limousine, until your husband took your hand to calm you down. He joked about how childishly excited you were for what he thought would be a normal candlelight dinner in a fancy pants restaurant. If only he knew the reason for this. Should you tell him now, or maybe later? Your husband, Bakugou Katsuki, graciously opened the door for you. "Milady," he said. Who would have thought that the pro known for his shouting and anger issues could be such a gentleman? Plus, there were certain perks only you seemed to enjoy. For one, Bakugou had tunnel vision. Whenever he allowed himself to focus on something, he hyper-focused. This was something you had learned in the very early years of your relationship, through a very interesting string of events. At first he seemed really distant, then suddenly really affectionate, then back to distant. This had been a dance up until 2 years ago, when you finally understood and learned to abuse this weakness of his. His hand tightened as he blushed slightly and looked away. Now it was your turn to tease him. "Even after 5 years, you still can't look at me when we have a quiet moment?" He sighed and closed his eyes. "I just can't believe I'm so lucky to have you." In response, you leaned against his shoulder. The night was perfect, and it was about to become even better. Finally, you arrived at the many-starred restaurant. It was owned by a food hero, the father of the ever-so-popular lunch rush. His name was Dinner Dash, a man known for his unbelievably great sushi creations. And with a quirk like his, this was all too great. His quirk, Rice Hunter, made it physically impossible for him to create a bad-tasting rice dish. There was a saying in the culinary world: if Dinner Dash recommended your rice-based meals, you already deserved 2 stars. After taking your seats and ordering your appetizers, Bakugou finally spoke up. Knowing what would happen if he were to act overly emotional in this place, he did his best to stay quiet. "Why are we doing this?" It sounded accusatory, but it wasn't. "I'm celebrating a special occasion." You were smiling, too, from ear to ear, in fact. He sighed and then scowled. "Have I forgotten your birthday again?" You shook your head. Your birthday was in 2 months, actually. With a warm feeling, you leaned forward, placed your elbows on the table, and rested your head on your hands. "Try another," he chuckled. "Why are you making this a game?" You shrugged. "Maybe I just want to see you suffer." You giggled quietly. "Or maybe I just want to see how much common sense you have, Mr. Soon I'll be number 1. He leaned slightly back in his chair, head turning red from suppressing a playful insult in your direction.
Okay then.
Still, though, a feeling of warmth and happiness overcame him. No matter what it was, you always made him feel like he was the king of the world. Suddenly a waiter appeared next to you. He looked unbelievably professional.
Ice cold sake for the gentleman,
he said, and set down a small ceramic kettle and a small cup.
And a non-alcoholic iced tea for the lady.
He set a glass next to your still empty plate.
The food will be ready in just a minute. I hope you are enjoying your evening.
The man bowed respectfully and left for the bar.
I think I've never seen you drink something non-alcoholic,
your husband said jokingly, as he took a quick nibble at your sugary drink. Well, I'm trying something new, you said jokingly, and blushed. The iced tea tasted fantastic, like anything you had drank before. Bakugou, on the other hand, was determined to find out why you organized this. Yet each time you replied with a hearty no. Trying to throw you off, he interjected with a question.
By the way, how's your life doing?
It was super effective. It had thrown you out of your mild, smug thought process. You stuttered. I'm actually requesting leave. He raised an eyebrow.
What?
He had unintentionally barked. Both of you immediately blushed and looked around the table. Luckily, no one was offended. Yet, if he kept doing this, who knows what would happen. Maybe this wasn't a good idea after all. Yet you understood why it gave him such an emotional outburst. The only time you had ever taken off was when he was really sick, to the point where you thought he'd die. Bakugou needed comfort. Comfort you had been willing to give. After all, you loved him. He blinked.
Wait, are you taking leave because of this, the undescribed thing?
You blushed and then smiled. Yes, you said quietly.
After all those years,
he said happily.
You finally want to make a vacation. Ha, great. How does America sound? A real road trip.
You made a noise similar to a squeak. This was not the reason. Problem was that he took your noise as confirmation.
Ah,
he said and leaned back in his chair.
I can't wait. I always want to take a road trip with you through the American countryside. People make fun of the Americans for the death of the American dream, but hey, they've been getting steadily rebuilding with the help of the Germans.
He laughed.
Did you already order the tickets?
Your lips quivered. Now that he was so dead set on this, it would feel wrong to say no. Excuse me for a minute, you said with an embarrassed squeak. Quickly, you rushed into the bathroom. There was only one person who would help you out of this. You hid in one of the stalls and quickly typed up a number on your phone. The number of a mature friend. Hello? Answered Eijiro Kirishima. Hey, you said helplessly. Kirishima smiled, but of course you couldn't see it. How is he taking the news? I haven't told him yet. Oof, was a sarcastic reply. Then why did you call me? You bit your lower lip. He thinks we're going on vacation. You explained the situation in the little words as possible. Eijiro was surprised. Man, that's Bakugou, right? Always thinking about stuff he'd like. So what do you want? Trying to hold back tears of desperation, you simply asked, Can you book us a flight to, I don't know, someplace in America or Europe maybe? Kirishima laughed. Are you serious? Please. You know more about traveling. I mean, you had gotten that sponsorship from Sokov Transnational and traveled for a few months promoting them. Kirishima shrugged, only to then realize you couldn't see it. Alright, fine. You blinked. Really? Yeah, I'm doing it. Tell him it goes down next month. Your friend scratched his chin audibly. And say the flight will start at the Tokyo airport, and your goal is... He tapped his foot on the ground. Oh, I know. The perfect place. He made a dramatic pause. You two will do a road trip through the English countryside. It's pretty calm, so it won't affect you negatively, and still a road trip, so you'll enjoy it regardless. You sighed in relief. Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. Just one more question, he said before you could hang up. You think he'd even let you go? After he hears the news, I mean. That's fine. I'm still early. Kirishima nodded. Okay then. Talk to you later. With a coquette smile, you returned to your table. By now the appetizer in form of miso soup had arrived.
Welcome back. I ordered the salmon sushi for you.
The salmon was your favorite, so I actually did listen. Yeah, small emergency. You sighed.
So, where are we going?
He said after both of you had taken a few spoonfuls of the delicious miso soup. Next month we drive to Tokyo Airport and the goal is England. Bakugou gave you a dumb smile.
Lovely. I can't wait.
You closed your eyes for a moment. Now, you needed to think. And it wasn't until dessert that he finally spoke up again.
Are you okay?
He asked. Yeah, you said, blushing.
You've been quiet. If something is wrong...
I have news, you said in a serious tone.
Oh.
Bakugou's eyes widened in surprise.
Well, tell me.
You bit your lower lip. I was hoping you'd not get behind the travel plan first. Lies. Lies, you thought. So I could tell you the bigger news first. Why were you such a great liar? Was it good that you were a great liar? You shouldn't be a great liar. He chuckled.
Okay. Hit me.
I'm pregnant. You said straight. For a second, Bakugou's movement stopped altogether, and then his mouth twitched.
You're serious?
He said. You nodded, blushing heavily. I was late this month, and I took a test. I didn't know how to tell you.
Well, don't say anything.
Huh? You looked up at his face. It was so bright. So happy. His lips were quivering and tears began to roll down his eyes.
I'm gonna be a dad,
he said breathlessly. Yeah, you said softly and smiled.
I love you,
he said as he stood up. Oh God, please no, you begged. Please don't make a scene. He sighed.
I just wanted to give us a toast.
You looked around in embarrassment. No, it's fine. Please don't.
Okay. Then let me do one thing,
he replied. Bakugou proceeded to walk up next to you and knelt down to be on your eye level.
You're filling my life with so much happiness. And I know I already said that once, but you might be the happiest man on earth.
He took one of your hands in his.
I love you so much. And I love our child, no matter if they will be a boy or a girl.
I love you too, you said, before gently pressing your lips onto his forehead.